I know I said that was gonna be my last thing today, but actually I've been meaning to create another Spider-Man guide here, just from basically
Please, can
getting
you
way
discover
more
Aunt
hours in
May's cherry
Spider-Man.
pie
I think I
dimension?
have 100
Pretty
plus
sure those are
hours,
bad guys.
plus the firing range would probably give me like, let's see, how many hours do I have in this game? It's paused right now because I'm just checking the hours. I have 581 hours, and I'm pretty sure like the first 200 hours was just pure Spider-Man. So, um, let's just start with like basic
Yeah.
things. Like, let's talk about the abilities of Spider-Man. Like Spider Power, that's his melee. Pretty basic. It has, it, I think it's the only melee that I know of that has like a different type of melee. Like it has three attacks. He does a punch, another punch, and then a kick. Right? The two punches
Fight for
deal
the
the
good
same
guys next
damage,
time.
and then the kick does a little bit more damage. It does like two ticks of damage, kind of. The
Yeah.
melee itself is not
Pretty
very
sure those are
powerful.
bad guys.
It's kind of okay as a melee, and most of the time you don't really want to stand in front of people doing this. You'll probably die. So I don't really recommend it. But it's good to know just how the melee works, and we'll
Lay
touch
down,
on
will
like
ya?
smaller details on the melee in just a short bit. Now, the web cluster, arguably Spider-Man's most important ability, the web cluster. Um, it shoots the web cluster that deals damage and attaches the spider tracer uh, to the hit enemy. So, um, the web cluster, why is it your most important ability? Because every other ability works off of your web cluster, of course, except your swing. But every ability, including your melee, is affected by a web cluster. You
Watch out, they're
punch
headed our
with
way.
when they're affected by the web cluster, and it'll deal extra damage. You uppercut
Yeah,
with the web
woo!
cluster, and it'll deal extra damage. Now, if you just noticed, when we're gonna go into combos later, the web cluster cancels into your melee, or your melee cancels into your web cluster rather. So if you melee attack, melee,
Oh, you went
it
down
will
pretty
do
hard.
a sort of combination you can do, like melee, what cluster, melee.
Double KO!
And this will allow you to deal a lot more damage rather than just like, you know, just
That's
using your melee
three.
attack, right?
Yeah, woo!
Now the next ability is the swing. Now the swing has a lot of cool features that we can use. The swing is pretty cool. It's a very awesome ability. There's two versions of the swing as well. There's the
Pretty sure those are
regular
bad guys.
Spider-Man. If you play Spider-Man games, just swinging around, making you feel like you're Spider-Man from the comics, just like flying around and jumping on people. And then
Yeah.
there's the ground swing, as I call it, which is just you pretty much just do like a little dash. Um, that doesn't.
Yeah.
It's like it's a little shorter than the. Actually, I don't think it's shorter. To be honest with you, I think it's kind of the same length. It's like 20 meters away, and you can just swing. The way you do both of them is when you're looking up. Typically, this means you're gonna swing like this, and when you're looking down, you'll just do a swing like that. And you do a little dash. Um, so you can do cool stuff like this with the swing, where if you keep looking at it, you won't really detach from the swing, and as long as you're moving your character around, you can sort of stick
Pretty
with the
sure those
swing.
are bad
Now,
guys.
I used to play Apex, and I was a Pathfinder main, so these abilities typically have the same kind of mechanics.
Yeah.
Another thing you'll want to do with Spider-Man is you'll want to go to his settings. You want to go to Hero, and you want to put on these settings. Hold to swing is very important because it won't just automatically swing. And then automatic swing, you gotta want to turn that off. Hold to wall crawl. I use this as myself as well, and I guess we can kind of go into the wall crawl. The wall crawl is actually more important than you think because um, let me think about this for a second. It allows you to reposition yourself into different places, right? So you can use the wall crawl, and I prefer hold to wall crawl
Watch out,
because
they're headed our
tapping the wall
way.
crawl will a lot of the times will just get you stuck on the wall, and you don't want to be stuck on walls. Walls as Spider-Man is your worst enemy, trust me. Now, hold to run is also important because otherwise he'll just kind of run all the time, and you don't want to do that. And so the cool thing about the wall crawl is that you can escape enemies by using your run, and if you practice your run on walls, you can do a lot of cool stuff where you can get different positions and different angles with it. The other thing that he has in movement without his swing is his double jump, which allows you to go into your overhead. Now let's talk about the overhead and the swing. So the overhead and the swing are kind of interconnected as well with the double jump. And the overhead is your
Watch out,
second
they're headed our
version of
way.
your melee, right? You got the 3 attacks, and you also got the overhead, which does, I think, roughly around the same damage as your kick. The overhead is
Fight for the good
a
guys
way more
next time.
useful attack than your melees because, first of all, it goes instantly, and you can kind of spam it, and you can do a lot more damage. Especially if you do what I told you earlier, if you like melee and you do that. You can double jump with the red cluster, and you can overhead, and look at how much damage that is. That's insane. You can even do that on tanks,
You went
and
down
if you just
pretty
spam
hard.
this plus overheads, and you just keep doing that, it will do so much damage. And especially since a lot of tanks, as long as they're not looking at you, because I don't really recommend you as Spider-Man going at a tank every single time. But as long as they're not looking at you, if they're busy with some other tugger, you can just spam that and keep doing that over and over. Or you can just cluster at them and do that.
Watch out, they're headed our way.
Okay. What is next? So the reason I said that the overhead and the swing are interconnected is because you can swing, and the first thing that'll come out after your swing is the overhead. Uh, and so what does this mean for us? Well, there's cool things you can do, and I'm not going to go into too much detail about it because it's not that important. For example, if you are here and you're looking and you're doing the swing where it's the upper version of the swing where you're looking at the upper corner of your screen, you can jump in and cancel the swing into an overhead, allowing you to do cool stuff like this. Hold on, I messed that up. Where you cluster and you can do that.
Fight for
This
the
is
good
not
guys next time.
very consistent, as you can see,
You sure those are bad
but
guys?
it is something that you can do in a pinch if you need a quick overhead. The other way you can do it is just not only with the upper version of the upper corner of your screen, you can also do it looking anywhere by canceling your swing into a cluster and going instantly for an overhead. So the timing of this is very tricky, but once you get used to it, you can pretty much just do it every single
And
time.
stay down.
And the cool thing about it is that you can, if you hit your cluster, you essentially get a free overhead with a cluster, which makes this pretty useful. But you have to remember,
Someday.
and we're going to talk about cooldowns in a second, you have 3 swings, right? The important thing about Spider-Man is that you have to manage your resources. Because you're not always going to be like on your opponent. You got to go in, do whatever you do, and you go out. And you only have 3 swings,
those are
so
bad guys?
doing this right here is using up one of your swings. So we're going to talk about cooldowns in a second, but before we talk about cooldowns, let's just go over the rest of his abilities. Let me turn on my thing here. So
Now I gotcha.
this is your come over here, which is one of the versions of this ability.
Spider Sling.
The come over here has 2 versions of it.
Come here
And
so I can
it's,
hit you. Now I
you know,
gotcha.
just hold on to you, or you can pull yourself to them by hitting a cluster and using your come over here. And that's just how the basic Spider-Man combo. Just come over here and then uppercut. And now we're gonna have to talk about Spider-Man's uppercut. So the uppercut is really, really simple ability. It's really just, it just uppercuts people. You can also use it as a movement ability.
Watch out, they're headed our way.
If you want to get up here, as you can see, or if you're swinging, you can do cool stuff like you can do a swing and then an uppercut, and it'll follow your momentum forward. And we're gonna talk about that later. For now, let's just talk about the uppercut. So the uppercut is an AoE ability, so it'll not only hit enemies that are straight in front of you, but it can hit multiple targets as well, and it can even hit people that are behind you, like that. It has a pretty big area of effect, and it's very useful.
You'll be all right.
You have two uppercuts, which I think each is 2 seconds apart, and once you use both of them, is 4 seconds. Yeah, 4 seconds. I thought it was 3. But anyways, now that we're talking about cooldowns, let's get into cooldowns. First, let's talk about your clusters. You only have 5. Technically, you actually have 5.5, because looking at your clusters regeneration capacity, I guess you can say, once you reach the final cluster, instead of it going down to like kind of 0 to the lowest part of the cluster, it will fully regenerate, and once you use that last cluster, it'll have to kind of reload the cluster completely, if that makes sense. See, now I have my last cluster, and then it regenerates pretty fast, and then once I use my last cluster, it takes the full length of the cluster regeneration to fully regenerate. Like I said, you have 3 swings, and the swings won't be used up until you fully use a swing. So you can like stay in the swing animation and still have 1 swing, and that's pretty useful to understand kind of your swing, because you can have just 1 swing left and you can wait. You can do a long swing and wait until you have the other one, and you can have that last swing. Now, once you don't have a swing, it takes 3 seconds to regenerate the entire swings. Your come over here is 7 seconds. That is it's technically 7.5, but you have to be very aware of your come over here. You don't get it quite often. And we already know the uppercut, 2 seconds and then 4 seconds apart once you use both. The last ability to talk about, it's pretty much just his ultimate. Self-explanatory. It's just an AoE area of effect attack that gives you 250 overshield and does massive amounts of damage.
Spider domain is not for the weak.
It's not that complicated. It's pretty easy to understand. The only thing I would say you have to be aware of when you're using your ultimate is crowd control, or CC, which means you're gonna get stunned, but only hard CC can get you off your uppercut. Like if you get pushed by Hawkeye or uppercutted by Bucky, it won't really, or uppercutted by Spider-Man, it won't really do anything unless you get like hard stunned. So now let's just talk about combos. Let's get into it. Here's Spider-Man's most basic combo. It's literally just web cluster, come over here, uppercut. That's it. That's Spider-Man's most important combination that you need to learn, that you need to memorize, and anybody, including their mother, can do it. Now the problem with this combo is that, as you can see, it's not gonna one-shot them. And this is a 250 HP character, so if they were 275, they would still have quite the amount of health. What that means is that you have to use your abilities in order to kill them. So if you do that, I recommend trying to melee them or web cluster uppercut, whichever way you can do it, and get creative. We're gonna talk about his 275 one-shot combo now. So it's pretty much the same thing. You just do this, and once you're in the uppercut here, you want to do that web cluster swing
Fight for the good
cancel
guys
into
next
the
time.
overhead that I talked about while hitting your web cluster in order to hit them. So what you want to do is cluster, go in, uppercut.
Double
Hold on,
kill.
he was dead already, so let me kill this guy as well.
That's 3.
What you're going to want to do is cluster, come over here, uppercut, web swing, cancel into your cluster and overhead. It's hard to talk and do it at the same time, but I'll try.
5.
So cluster, come over here, cancel animation, overhead.
In a row. Way to go.
So again, what I'm doing
Sure
is
those are
I'm
bad
shooting my
guys.
swing and I'm throwing my cluster at the same time, and I'm also jumping after I do that, and it'll release the overhead. So it's 4 inputs well, 1 2 3 4, right? Yeah. So 1 2 3 4. That's kind of the timing you want to memorize. 1 2 3 4. 1 2 3. Hold on. 1 2 3. It's harder if I'm not in the air. 1 2 3 4. There it is.
Down, will ya?
Double kill.
So that's your kind of 275 one-shot combo
Crack the
that
whip.
you can do. And
That's
so
3.
what just happened there, and I'll take that as a good opportunity to talk about another one of his quote-unquote techs. When you hit a cluster, if you instantly use a come over here,
Spider sling.
it will pull him towards you. And you can do cool stuff like that. That's another Spider-Man
I don't wanna
combo you
hit
can
more
do,
than I-
but
T
it's
sure those
not
are bad guys.
as what's the word? It's not as consistent. There you go. So yeah, that's the basic Spider-Man combo that you kind of want to do. Just kind of want to do these two things. You want to do that, or
Kill.
go in, cluster, and
That's 3.
do that. The other good combo you can do is you cluster, melee, cluster, uppercut.
Wow. 4 in a
That
row.
will also the one shot
I don't wanna hit you more than I
275
have to.
shooters.
5. That's amazing.
And yeah, just pretty much get creative with your clusters. You come over here in your uppercut, and you can do cool stuff like that.
Fight for the good guys next
Like
time.
combine it with your overhead, and then your uppercut. That also does a massive amount of damage.
Wow. 4 in a row.
Watch out, they're
And
headed our way.
do that, and then you go up, and then you do that.
6 in a
And
row.
you can do the 250
Oh, you went down
combo
pretty
there.
hard.
Cluster, and that's it. Now let's explain his playstyle, which will give you kind of open up more opportunities and get your creative mind to think on how to kill people. So we talked about, his combos. You're not always going to be able to kill people, right? So Spider-Man's playstyle is dive, obviously. He can also flank. He can also go behind. I think flanking is kind of the same as going behind them, right? You can, yeah, you can go from the rear, kind of. That's what I'm trying to say. Basically, what you want to do with Spider-Man is you want to go in and you want to go out. So you want to either go in, kill somebody, and get out, or you want to,
Fight for the
go
good
in,
guys next time.
deal damage, and get out. Like that. And you also always have to be aware of your resources. That's the most important thing. Always be aware of how many bullets you have left, per se. And so the only way to, there's not just one way to go in, right? There's cool animation cancels you can do with your swing and your uppercut,
And stay
like
down.
that. You can just swing, uppercut. Like, you don't only have to use your come over here to get to them. That's the whole purpose of your swing, right? You do cool stuff like that. That is possible. Except there at the end there, I would probably like do something like this since I wouldn't have my uppercut yet.
4 in a row.
Woohoo, no way
So you can use your swing in order to go in, or you can use your come over here to kill people. It's not only just your come over here.
Fight for the good guys
Um,
next time.
Now let's talk about everybody's favorite Spider-Man tech, the bunny hop. drinking some water real quick. Bunny hop is really easy to use. Very, very easy. All you have to do is do a lower swing, right? A dash swing, and throw a cluster at the same time. Well, not at the same time. You kind of want to be in the air when you swing, so you won't, when you bunny hop, so you don't want to jump, you want to swing, and once you touch the ground, that's what you got to keep in mind. Once you touch the ground, you want to just throw a cluster and jump again. Boom, like that. That's all you have to do. Swing, cluster, jump. Or jump, cluster, swing, cluster,
Pretty sure
jump.
those are bad
Jump,
guys.
swing, cluster, jump. Like that. And of course, the further you swing, the more your momentum will increase, and the further you'll go. Like I said, you can swing an uppercut. The same applies to your bunny hopping. So you can bunny hop, and then you can do that. There's a cool little tech, I guess you could say. When you're bunny hopping, you can do this little flip he does, and you can uppercut, and it'll send you kind of flying like that. This opens up a lot of possibilities. Like the bunny hop is really useful because you can just go in, like, and you can also aim your cluster at your opponent, so you can swing, cluster, and again, do whatever. Whatever you see fit, whatever you think is the most important.
Watch out, they're headed our way.
Swing, cluster, uppercut, like that.
That's 3.
Now the other thing you can do is we're gonna talk about off the map soon, but not yet. I still want to talk about just his overall play style, especially with Venom. Let's talk about the little Venom team up here. So Venom team up is what makes it makes Spider-Man 10 times better. It gives you an ability that makes you invulnerable for 2 seconds, or like 1.5 seconds or something like that. And it also allows you to hurt your opponent. It allows you to get off crowd control. Allows you to get away as well. It also pushes them back. So they can use it for zone control, point control. And if you stay close to them, it'll take them twice. So the basic combo with your symbiote is just do the Venom combo, symbiote. And if you stay close, it'll take them again, dealing extra damage. You can pretty much just kill anybody who's squishy with that. Except 300 HP people that will just, but you know, you can just, they'll be pretty low after you do a full combo. If you do that, and if, let's say that guy is alive, just cluster him. Let's actually do it though. And I couldn't get the double take, but you know what I'm saying. Just kill them. They're gonna die anyways, unless they're really good. Okay, now let's talk about the off the maps, the polls. What everybody sees in the YouTube shorts, the Twitch shorts, or whatever you get your content from. There are a few drills that some of them I have devised myself. Some of them I've copied from other good Spider-Men to practice the off the maps. The first thing I want to talk about is this is very complicated tech, so if you're a beginner, just stick to, you know, your beginner mechanics. The first thing is that the swing will not, the come over here is not going to activate if you're like, it's not a slow projectile, it's kind of an instant shot, and then if you're, let's say your cursor is right here and you move it to this plant over here, if you sort of do the come over here and like if you press the timing of it in the center instead of on the plant, it's gonna do this. Hold on, let me see if I can get it. See that? See how like it's not hitting the plant, it's hitting the wall. Because you come over here, it's gonna come out wherever your cursor is at the very same moment that you're utilizing the ability or you're pressing the input. Now, why is that important? Well, first of all, there's 2 ways to do the come over here. or two ways to grab someone and pull them off the map. So when I'm not gonna do the swing yet, but when you're swinging, and I'm gonna show you in a second, you're moving, you have a lot of momentum, and you gotta be aware of a few things. First of all, the ability has 20 meters in distance, right? It's 20 meters long. It also takes some time to get to 20 meters, and also what I just explained. So let's not get too deep into the complications. Let's just talk about that, and just but it's important to keep these things in mind, right? So why am I referring to this is because when you're swinging and you have a lot of momentum, what you want, the two ways to do it is you want to turn around, and let's say you're here, and then she's there, and you can just do that, right? Or you can flick it. So by flicking it, you have to be aware of that kind of quote-unquote mechanic on how this ability works. So you have to understand how it works, or you just have to have good instincts. If you have good instincts, then just forget everything I just said and just do the off the map. So there's three ways, three styles you could say to do that with the come over here. The first way is using a swing and then use the come over here, right? The second one is bunny hop to come over here, or bunny hop uppercut and to come over here. And I guess that would, yeah, and swing uppercut come over here. That's the third way. Okay. So the first drill I do is just pretty basic drill where you're just standing here, you bunny hop uppercut, and you kind of just come over here onto your target, which is with a snow, or you can change it to whoever. And then you can swing around, and you can come over here and look at the dummies, and you can try it with them as well. Now I am a little tired, so I won't be getting these very, very consistent. I've been playing all day today, but let's not use that as an excuse. So just get one here real quick. But I have to show you guys an example. There you go. First try. First try, baby. That's the first drill you can do. You can also do swings. You can do a swing here and get it. Third time's the charm here.
Sure those are bad guys.
Third time's the charm.
Crack the whip.
See? Every third time.
Stay down, will ya?
Usually I could get those like kind of first or second try. And and the other drill is you stand here and use the square as reference. When you have uppercut like that, and you can capture that guy over there. Like that.
Boo, see ya.
There you go. The third drill I'm going to show you, and this is a drill I've made myself. It's important for me to learn this drill because it teaches you distance and how far you can really go with your bunny hop uppercut. It's just you do that. It'll also teach you how to get over the map, how to get over obstacles to the map, because you can go through this and appear behind that right there. You go there, go there. This one's a little tricky, and this is where what I talked about, where you either wait until you're above them and you turn around. As soon as you swing, bunny hop uppercut, turn around, and they'll be right there. Or you can flick it and kind of hit them with a flick. Oh man, I seem to not be getting that. I'm missing by a really small margin, but I want to show you guys how to do that. Or I want to make it look good. Again, I am kind of tired, so I'm not going to get it very consistent right now. Usually I do just get it Damn this by such. It looks really cool when you do it. It's really satisfying to
T-shirt
see.
that cracks a whip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's try one more. Or just a few until I get it. Yeah, 'cause I didn't feel like that was gonna work.
Cracks a whip.
There we go.
Boom. See ya.
So that's another drill. And just get creative with it. Just go around the map and try to hit swings into pulls. Especially on this Logan guy or on the Luna, or you can change the character. And the more you work with the problem of like how to swing and pull somebody off the map, the better you'll get at it. If you just get creative and make up your own drills.
Now I gotcha.
So that's how you pretty much
Pretty sure those are
practice
bad
to
guys.
pull people off the map. Oh, you know what? I forgot to mention. This is the other way of doing it. You can swing uppercut and then basically swing uppercut and pull them.
Yeah.
Pretty much. This is good if you have a little bit of height on them, and it's gonna be in the way of doing it.
Oh,
I have a
you
little
went
fun
down
drill I
pretty
do.
hard.
I spawn like a Groot here. I pull a Groot over here.
Cracks a whip.
Alright.
Yeah.
And I go here. And then I swing uppercut. And I kind of just pull him over there.
Yeah. Pretty sure those are
Yeah.
bad guys.
Man, I missed by such a small little bit there.
Now I gotcha.
That was good. Good enough. Yeah. That's pretty much everything you can do in Spider-Man. There's
Yeah.
really not a lot else you have to do. Just all of these mechanics that he has. You just get creative. That's it.